Hello everyone, this is your Python instructor Megha. Today we are going to start a series on getting started with Python. As discussed in our last video, here we have the course material for grade 11 CBSE. We are focusing on Unit 3, that is Introduction to Python, and we will start with Chapter 1 of Unit 3, that is Getting Started with Python. So let's begin. The first thing that we are going to study is features of Python. It's a general purpose programming language, it's platform independent, it's excellent for beginners, and it is easy to learn and use. Let's see the basics. Before understanding Python and working with Python programming, let us understand what is a program. A computer program is a collection of instructions that can be executed by a computer to perform a specific task. A computer program is usually written by a computer programmer in a programming language. Running a Python program. To download the Python software, visit www.python.org. There you will be redirected to different operating systems that you might be using. Choose the software which is suitably matching with the specification of your computer or device. Modes in Python environment. Python basically works on two modes, that is a script mode and an interactive mode. A script mode. The normal mode is the mode where you script and you finish the .py files and you run them in a Python interpreter. Interactive mode is a command line shell which gives immediate feedback for each statement while running previously fed statements in the active memory. Quite confusing, right? Let us study them in detail. First is the script mode. In script mode, we have Python program in a file. Then we use the interpreter to execute the content from the file. To create and run the Python script, we will use the following steps in ideally. We will first create a new file or we open an existing file. We run the Python code as whatever our script is. We save it and we run it in the interactive mode. So basically, depending on different kinds of software that you will be using in the script mode, you will have different shortcuts. Like here, I have mentioned the shortcut as S or F5. You might have different shortcuts for different softwares that you will be using. To download PyCharm, the software that we will be using in our course, we have this link. We will provide this link in the description box below. Please refer to the code and download the software. Next we have interactive mode. Interactive mode is great for quickly and conveniently running single lines or blocks of code. Here is a Python shell as an example for the interactive mode code. So this is a Python shell in which if you come to the fourth line in the code, which is having three arrows, that indicates that you are ready to accept the interactive commands. You write print brackets. In single or double quotes, you write a statement. The same statement is printed in the next line. After the line is printed, you again see those three arrows. That is, your compiler is ready to accept new inputs from the user. I hope you have understood a little bit about the modes. We will here be using the script mode, and the software that we are going to use is PyCharm. You can have Spider or Anaconda as the softwares for your Python scripts, but I would recommend PyCharm as it is very easy and very much interactive. Now, let us study something in Python. First is variables. When we create a program, we often like to store values so that it can be used later. By now, we know that variable is a name which refers to a value. Every object has an identity. Identity refers to the name. Type refers to what type, what data are you going to feed into the variable. And last is a value, the value that you assign to a variable. Let us run a program to see how does these things work. First of all, I have redirected the method that you're going to use for opening your Python script in PyCharm software. You need to open the PyCharm software, go to project and open new project, rename it as your favorite project. Then create a new file above the project name and type the following code. The code seems to be something like this. Hold on. We are going to do an interactive session here. So this is how a PyCharm screen looks like. On the top you have different menus for navigation. On the left side you see a project window. Here you have different files that you will be created in the PyCharm in this particular project. You can navigate through the project and different files inside the same project. On the right side you see this sum.py. This is a file that I am working on right now. This is entirely the scripting area where you will actually be writing the scripts and the code that you need to run on Python. At the bottom you see the screen. This is the output window where you see the output of all the programs that you write in Python. So here we start with writing our first program, that is to add two numbers. Say like you do in maths, I declare a variable x and in this I give a value say 2. I declare a value y and I give it 3. Now I need to calculate sum, so I write sum equal to x plus y. That's how you do it in maths. Very easy. Now there's just one statement that is added to print the sum because computer does not know when to print, so you have to give a command or instruction for the same. So you write print bracket sum and that's all. This is how easy it is to write a Python script. Now you need to press Alt, Shift and F10 to run your code. In case you're not able to learn these shortcuts, but we will be doing them in the course, then in that case you can go on the top to this run menu and you can find different commands for running or debugging your program. So in the output screen you have 5. So 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Say sometime I might make a mistake while writing my program. So what happens then? Like instead of writing sum, I have written here um in the print statement. So when you run the program, it will show you line number 4, print m has some error. And what is the error? Name um is not defined because here you are using sum and here you are printing um. So this calls for different variables on printing and while calculating the sum. So very much easy to find and locate the errors and to correct them. And now you run them again and your script will be back to normal. The following was the code for the above program where x equal to 2, y equal to 3, sum equal to x plus y and you are printing the sum. In the above code we have three variables namely x, y and sum. The variable used in the above program are containing numeric values, so they are of integer data types. Let us understand these terminologies in detail. Identity of the object. It is the object's address in the memory that does not change once it has been created. That is how we refer to the object. That is the name of the variable, that is x, y and sum for our program. Next is the type. It is a set of values that are allowable operations are done on. These are some values for the data types. Let us study some frequently used data types in Python that we are going to cover today. As you have seen in the list, there are many data types. We will just focus on the ones that are most frequently used by the Python programmers in the beginning. So first is integer, second are the floating point numbers, third are the strings, and fourth are the booleans. Integer stands for the numeric data. Floating point numbers stands for the numeric data with decimal. String stands for all the alphabetic and alphanumeric data. Booleans are just for true and false. Let us see them in detail. First we have integer. Integers are just whole numbers, positive or negative. When we are working on integers, we need not to worry about the size of the integer, as very big integer value is automatically handled by Python. Following are a few examples of integer values. A equal to 10, B equal to minus 980, C equal to 114 or 5192 as a long value. So the long value is also handled by Python. The other type of numbers data type is floating. Numbers with fractions or decimal point are called floating point numbers or float. Floating point numbers will consist a sign of plus and minus with the sequence of decimal digits and a dot. These numbers can also be used to represent a number in engineering or scientific notification. Following are a few float values: 10.56, 78.652. So such values with decimals and numbers are considered to be floating point numbers. Okay, so we have an interesting exercise here. Consider the following problems and find the answer using some basic arithmetic. Also describe their data types. So there are some numbers for which we need to solve the value and we need to predict which kind of data type is this. So we'll start with the first one, 2 plus 1. The answer is 3, so it is an integer. 2.5 minus 1. The answer is 1.5, so it is float. Same way, 30 minus 56. Answer is minus 26. Still, it is an integer because minus infinity to plus infinity is the integer value. 3 divided by 2. The answer is 1.5, so it is float. 7 modulus 4. This means that the remainder has to be written. The remainder comes to be 3, so it is integer. 7 double divided by 4. So this is again integer and this double division stands for float. We will be working on these terminology in our later classes. Alright, so let us jump into another type of data that we use in Python, which is string. It is an ordered sequence of letters, characters that are enclosed in single quotes or double quotes. The quotes are not the part of a string. They only tell the computer where the string constant begins and ends. They can have any character or sign including space in them. They are immutable data types. For example, we write a script A equal to Python and then we print A. The output comes to be Python. So this double quote will not be the part of the string. The last type of data is Boolean. Python comes with Booleans with predefined true or false that displays basically just as integers 1 and zeros. So if you ever have studied any of the machine language, 1 stands for true, 0 stands for false. Example, if I ask 3 is greater than 4, so computer will say false. A equal to 10, B equal to 20 and A is less than B, so it is true. That's a wrap for the class today. I hope you enjoyed the class. We will be coming back with some interesting programs and topics in the other class. Thank you everyone.